What are you a 1%er of? I ran a marathon and only 0.5% of the US population has ever completed one. That's a somehow surprisingly and not surprisingly low figure at the same time. Well, running is hard. How many people who don't run can run for 15 minutes without stopping? 1* minutes. As someone who was in shape, then got fat, then tried to get back in shape by running again, I can tell you that your average American cannot run for 1 minute straight, let alone 15. Edit. I'm aware the average American does not represent the world, but I can only speak on what I know as an American. We're some fatties. Left-handed colorblind redhead. I guess all of them are above 1%. But put together I do believe I'm a very rare product. Left-handedness occurs in about 10% of people. Red hair in 1 to 2% and colorblindness in 8% of men and 0.5% of women. But yeah, you specifically are definitely a special little snowflake. Mathematically speaking, there should be 29,000 others like you if you're female. 473,000 if you're male. Got an email from Spotify saying I'm a top 1% listener to my favorite band Milky Chance. That's pretty cool. Height 7 feet 3 inches. If you live in the US and are 7 feet tall or higher, there is a 20% chance you play in the NBA. Is that true or one of those statistics? Well, I forgot one thing. It's if you're a 7+ American * between the ages of 20 and 40 *, but it's because of super small sample size. There are about 70 people in the US that meet that qualification. I have a rare intestinal disorder that even the doctors had never heard of. So, yay? Can you name it? Demonard-Bark syndrome. I live in Alabama and have never had sex with my relatives. That really be like the 0.000000001% though. I don't think more than 1% of people make it to the age of 29 without kissing anyone. Fat rip. Old man strength. Near 300 pounds bench press. At 64 years. But cannot confirm without a spot. And those are hard to come by these days. 1% of those with perfect pitch who can hum a 440 HC. Stuttgart pitch. Without need of a tuning fork. I kinda wish I had perfect pitch, but at the same time tone-deaf people already irritate me when they try to sing happy birthday. And I'm not sure I could handle that if I had perfect pitch. I'm alive with 5 congenital heart defects. The only one alive. Which ones? It's my job, so I'm curious. I can't remember all 5 off the top of my head, but I do remember. Fully known. Transposition of the great arteries. Hypoplastic right heart syndrome. Not fully known. Subject to change. Arterial septal defect. Ventricular septal defect. I will update with a fully correct list. Mutated TP53 gene. Also known as the cancer gene. New in research. But means I have 93% chance of developing it over my lifetime. I hope you are in the 7%. So we gonna deploy awards or intelligence. Bottom 1%. Username checks out. Does not watching a single episode of Game of Thrones count? And also Tiger King. Turns out, I make enough money to technically be in the 1% wealthiest people on the planet. But the bar's low for that, at least by the standards of the developed world. You only have to make more than $30,000 per year IRC. Probably depends on where you live too. 30K in NY versus 30K in Texas. Louisiana is a world apart. He mentioned planet, which skews the result hugely. I just checked the average income annually in India and it's $1,600. So, a place with 1 billion people earns an average of $1,600. The US is pretty wealthy. Comparatively. That's not to diminish the poverty problems the US faces. At all. Not me. My wife. She died from a form of cancer with a 99% recovery rate. Papillary carcinoma. Being a widower in my 30s is probably a 1%er situation. Sorry to hear that. How are you holding up? It's been tough. I witnessed a bombing of Pearl Harbor on the 7th of December 1941 as a kid in Honolulu that day, and I was working at the Pentagon on the 11th of September 2001 when terrorists flew a plane into the Pentagon. That's not 1%. That's like the one of one people who commented on this post twice, not counting replies. Well played. I just got a mail that said that I won $10 million and that I was the 1%. I just needed to give them my credit card info. You just won the Nigerian Prince lottery. People who commented on this post twice, not counting replies. Well played. I know, right? My body always reacts to sugar water. The control during allergy tests. Also, if I take Benadryl I get a bunch of energy and can't sit down. I have the same problem with Benadryl. Turns out it was ADHD. Have you ever had ginseng? That has the same effect on me. I take ginseng every morning actually, but I don't get the same kind of energy buzz as what I get with Benadryl. Never been tested for ADHD. I survived a rare form of ocular melanoma, which is already very rare, that my oncologist described as the 1% of cases. It was to do with the direction of the melanoma in the reaction to the radiation causing necrosis. I was a minor celebrity amongst optometrists for a while, and they kept bringing in other doctors just to take a look. Anyway, I'm happy to have recovered and would much rather be boring. High five, fellow ocular melanoma buddy. So glad to hear that you've recovered. Woohoo, eye cancer. I recovered from choroidal melanoma, malignant melanoma of the eye. It's very rare to start with, but most common in elderly white males. I'm a black woman and was 26 at the time. I was also pregnant at the time of diagnosis. So yeah, I hit the lottery on that one. Blue eyes, red hair. Goddamn, you got lucky, you beautiful bastard. There are 600,000 foreigners in China, making me 0.00042857142%. Multiply that by 100 and you got it. You just did the fraction here. In my state, my sister and I were the first Native Americans to be adopted by white people. Before us, it just never happened. Statistically, fewer than 2% of teen moms earn their bachelor's by the time they turn 30. I was 28, so I guess this is sorta 1%er. I can move my ears. Those aren't your ears. Give them back. Lasted 15 years in a job that averages 2 years. I think I'm in the 1%. Which job? Janitor at Fukushima Power Plant. The Glowing Mop Club. Mass Effect 3 multiplayer N7 ranking, top 1% worldwide. Last time I checked. I can put my tongue on my nose. Congrats on your free bonus feature, putting your tongue into your nose. Thanks. Top 0.1% of players in Egg Inc. Every fucker in my family is ginger except me. My dad took me to get a DNA test cause he did in GMT, believe it? Turns out I just got lucky. More like doubting his paternity. 850 credit score. Just sign my name if I want a loan with no collateral. Well, that just makes me more excited to be getting closer to that every month. 805 in climbing. Karma on Reddit. Art top. Former military. Currently approximately 0.7% of the US population. I've visited 4 continents so far, and will pick up my 5th later this year, when the travel restrictions get lifted. Vets are 7% of the population, 18 million. Probably a lot of sick animals to cure. Ex-military, here too, with a math PhD. Home internet speed. Seeing that 99.8 MB/s is oh so sweet. I just realized that I hate my country even more. I've got 1 gigabit per second at home. Does that make me the top 0.01%? Female software engineer in tech. I got Legend in HS last month, and according to them I am in the top 1% of not being in 1% of anything. I have this thing called arytenoid cartilage subluxation that affects less than 1% of people. IIRC, it's basically when a single vocal cord pops out of place and sticks somewhere it doesn't belong. It kinda feels like a bone pressing into your esophagus. But it's typically just inconvenient. Usually it pops right back if I press it or stretch my neck a certain way. But I have had to resort to singing to fix it. 3 passports from different countries. Chilean, Dutch and American. Maybe I'll ditch the US one though. It's the only country that asks expats to pay their taxes if you make above a certain amount. Vote this November. Democrats and even some Republicans are advocating to end this injustice for Americans living abroad. The only country to do this. Our eye shakers. I speak 5 languages and I'm ambidextrous. I think both of those count. Rocket League. I'm a straight white guy who was raped by 2 female family members. Physically, sexually, and mentally abused by my female ex. Was jumped by blacks for being the only white kid on the street. Had my house shot for being a White House, etc. Watched the police beat my white father within an inch of life for looking at them wrong. Lived in extreme poverty growing up despite being white. Has been arrested on fake charges because the black cop was having a power trip pulling over white guy with a tail light out. Shocker. It wasn't. If it sounds like I'm trying to make a point here, monsieur, I am so tired of being told that because I'm a straight white guy, technically half Puerto Rican but I look white, that I cannot be a victim, monsieur. There are no services for male rape victims or male domestic abuse. Victims are white victims of racist, monsieur. Shit. I went to get food stamps last year and she said, honey, if you ain't black there's no point in trying. They get it first. I'm not a shill and I fucking hate Trump. But I refuse to give up. I will keep telling people what happened to me even if I'm banned from every sub on Reddit. I used to think I wasn't a unique case and I still don't think I am. But this overcorrection from the left has made me realize that most people think I am a unique situation that doesn't deserve the time of day. So for that, I guess I am in the 1%. My older brother was raped by our mom. He doesn't tell people because it's a great way to get laughed at. A lot more sympathy out there for men for being beaten or starved than for sexual abuse. It doesn't help that he's 6 feet 6 inches now. I'm so sorry all that happened to you. Hope you are doing better now. I spent 5 minutes refreshing just so I can be the 100th comment, just to feel special. Choosing Gen 1 starters. Team Bulbasaur for life. I'm not entirely sure if I would classify as being a part of the 1%, but I was born with a tooth. Women who go through labor and childbirth in less than 15 minutes. Typing speed maybe. Checked on a website. I can hit over 90 WPM if I really try. But average 80 or so. And it put me in top 1 to 2%. 100 people in a room, monsieur. Remembering recycled once a week. Ask Reddit questions. Zing. I'm a highly functional Asperger's autist who went from special needs class in a direct way, via normal elementary school, gymnasium, tilde middle and high school, to an elite university. I don't know any other autist who managed that, and I only know one who went to a gymnasium, so I guess that's 1%. I also study architecture as my secondary subject, with my main being computer science. As far as I know, I am the second student in the history of my university to do so. 40,000 students currently, and both faculties have existed alongside since the 60s. I am an Austic girl and I just graduated from a gymnasium with a grade of 1.3. Keep up your great work, man. That's really impressive. I have 2 friends, both autists, both finished gymnasium, one studying medicine and the other computer science. I'm glad you got that far. I got up and walked out of the first Lord of the Rings movie because I hated it so much. I love to read. I've given the books 3 chances. I've tried to sit through a couple of the movies and I just can't. I love Star Trek and other sci-fi stuff, but I hate fantasy. I just don't like it. Never have, never will. Is it the magic elements? Or maybe the medieval Europe feeling? A lot of fantasy has that same medieval Europe setting to it. I'm okay with it. but I could see how the whole fantasy genre would feel the same if you dislike it. It's the color scheme and the sweeping camera angles of said colors. Or at least, that's a huge part of it. So I guess the cinematography. I hate all movies and shows like this. Game of Thrones is entirely unwatchable for the same reason actually. As is Pulp Fiction for a non-fantasy example. I don't like drab colors being made to look majestic by the camera. If that makes sense. I tried to think of a fantasy movie I do like and the closest I can think of is Princess Bride. Edit. I liked Snowpiercer. The only sweeping camera shots weren't drab. The inside was in the back of the train. But they didn't do that majestic camera angle thing. They made it look stuffy and miserable. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.